Hi everyone, welcome to Connections by Talent Store. Happy New Year, right? This is our first episode in 2024, and today we have a very special guest, Manmeet, that is a local, freelance trainer, but also quite unique because he also serves markets outside of Malaysia, like Thailand. So today we're going to be exploring that because this is the first time I'm speaking to a Malaysian trainer that is well versed in the Thai language. So welcome, Amit. Hope the new year has been great for you. How are things so far in 2024?
Thank you so much, Arun, for having me. It's a great pleasure. Happy New Year to everyone who is watching this. So far, the new year has been picking up slowly now. I think right after middle of the month, suddenly starts to pick up and start to go
Yeah,
forward. So looking good.
yeah. Usually quarter one, January, February tends to be a quieter month, right? For training
Yes.
and development in general because of the major holidays that exist in Malaysia.
Yes.
Um, has that been the case for you, or you kind of mentioned that your things are picking up already? So how has that
Think
been?
things are picking up, but like it's a very start stop season for the next 3 4 months because of the festivals and all. But they are
Yeah,
here, things and there, things are working. Work is going. So yeah, there is
yeah.
slowly that's coming in.
Okay, and maybe we can start off with just understanding a little bit more about what you do, right?
Okay.
Like at the beginning of program, I kind of mentioned that you had this very unique attribute that you're Malaysian but speak very well in the Thai language. So how did
hmm
that come about? Do you do a lot of work in Thailand and in Malaysia? Or, what's your kind of forte? Maybe you can speak a little bit more about that.
Sure. So a bit about myself. So I'm Manmeet, as Mad mentioned. Um, I used to be in the IT industry, and then I came into career. I'm a certified career and a performance coach, whereby I started doing a lot of career and performance coach, and I also found a passion in leadership. So I like to
Yeah.
do trainings. I like to do nurturing people and all that. Whereby before this, I was in the IT industry for 20 years. But this is not where the Thai came from. The Thai came from because my mom is a Punjabi from Thailand. My late mom, she's
Sure.
a Punjabi from Thailand.
Yeah.
So she got married here, but then we were settled in Thailand for 10 years. So from the age of 3 to 13, I was in Thailand. So I was in Bangkok because my dad had business there with my uncles and all. So we were there, and I managed to speak the language, managed to verse the language, so it became something that I could speak. And when we came back, we were still practicing. We used Thai at home quite often,
Sure.
and then I started uh, developing some training programs in Thailand itself, whereby used to go by and train some people for some corporate. So, I used to need to speak in Thai for them. So it was like the
Mm.
humors, and also that's where the Thai market came into place, and whereby I had started having some clients there, moving into that, and the space there is pretty big as well. Yep.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, speak a little bit about the Thai market. I think this is something probably that most Malaysians won't be too familiar with. Like,
hmm
how different is it to the Malaysian market? And in terms of size, obviously, it's a very large market. I think in terms of the willingness to engage in corporate learning is quite high. But what are
Yes.
some of the similarities and also some of the differences that you see between Thailand and Malaysia?
So the thing is, I would say in that sense, Malaysia is way ahead in terms of training and human development because we have the
Okay.
HRD Corp and all that, right? So it help
Yeah.
us in terms of opportunities and all. In Thailand, they don't have that setup, but they now going forward, like with the new government and all, they are focusing on the HR minister now is focusing more on the human development side of people as well. The market is
Sure.
very big. So these are, and then the market is similar in terms of they want to grow, they want to have self development in terms of interpersonal skills, leadership skills, and all the even the IT skills, soft skills, so high IT skills that they have, some of the soft skills as well. So now they are willing to grow. But if you look at it in the last, why were they behind us? Because of the language barrier. A lot of people have issues in Thailand because of the language barrier.
Yeah.
So the Thai is they like the Thai humors, the people you can understand Thai itself. And if you can speak the language, then yeah, they start to warm down to you. They start to feel better that you're comfortable with you. And I feel that with that, the market has opened. Now with the new laws and all that, not laws I would say, but some kind of compulsory come in the compensation the companies get in terms of training from the
Okay.
government, like from a tax incentive, it
Sure.
is helping the Thai people to start looking at training as more as an opportunity.
Right. Okay. So that means you're saying that from a government perspective, there have been some initiatives recently to kind of
Yeah.
push it, like, because I think that was the big differentiator in Malaysia, right? Where HRDC, which was started in the probably in the 80s, kind of had this infrastructure in mind to kind of push corporate learning development in Malaysia, right, in a more structured way, and that has kind of led to the industry that we see today. So it's great to hear that Thailand is also taking steps forward. I mean, um, in terms of where you see the Thai market going to from a corporate learning perspective, where do you foresee it going to, right? If you could have a crystal ball and look 5 years into the future, um, where do you see it from a perspective of growth, but also from the people itself, their willingness to adapt and to grow with corporate learning?
So in the last 2 to 3 years and moving forward for the next 5 years, Thai people are now more interested because they are now well versed in English. Okay, they do have their accent and slangs, but the thing is that
Sure.
they're becoming more well versed. Their English is becoming better.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was a bit tough. I would say before the pandemic it was way tougher, but now it's becoming more clearer. And moving in the next 5 years onwards, I do see Thailand having a lot of people, a lot of big companies investing in them, and
Yeah.
they would want to keep their talent because the Thai talents. I mean, they are very close group among them. They are very comfortable among themselves, so they would like to
Yeah.
keep the talent among themselves. Then, so I'm sure, and because of all this new implementation, it will help Thailand growing for forward in terms of learning and development as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about the market actually. I think we've definitely tried to go in ourselves, but the language has always been one big barrier, right, to overcome. So we tended to always use partnerships on the ground, Thai partners to kind of reach that market. Um, I mean, moving back to Malaysia, I think, based on what you seen in terms of the development, some of the news around HRD Corp, where do you see Malaysia going to, right? I know we are quite an established, maybe a mature market, but we tend to still be very Malaysia dominated, right? A lot of trainers are Malaysians, training Malaysians. Do you think that will change significantly? Do you see a lot of other international guys coming in, having a bigger impact? What's your sense of that?
So let's say we give you something, right? As a career coach, I do a lot of career coaching, and in 2022 I did a small survey, and not I, but somewhere combined with some of the big companies like RAM and all. They did a survey. They found out that 61% of people that would like to find a new job going forward in 2023, 2024 forward.
Sure.
And
Okay.
so remember the thing called the Great Resignation that came. So people started
Yeah.
resigning and all that. Why? Because Malaysian at that time was not so into self-development, not into training. They didn't give much training. Then when pandemic came, all this changed, right? And then
Yeah.
now we see a lot of people growing into I want self-development. So a lot of people now they look from a career coach perspective. I see that what they say is I want to look for a company, I want to look at a company where I can get training, I can self-develop myself. So the market here now has become so now the employers also have to start changing. If I want to keep the pool of people, or I want to keep my best talent, I need to give them
Yeah.
training. So the market is going to get bigger and bigger. And of course, international people will come in. They are famous, they are recognized. But I think the Malaysian people, the Malaysian trained L&D, the support system, and the things that we have here, I think it's sufficient and it's great for us to just explore Malaysian market as well.
Right. And I mean, from a perspective of your background, right? I think you mentioned in the beginning that you started off in IT. That was where you kind of spent most of your career. So how did that lead you into, you said you were executive coach, personal coach, but also doing stuff in leadership. How did that evolve, right? Like, I just want to get a sense of your
Sure.
background, how it kind of translated into the trainer you are today.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much. So the thing is that I graduated in terms of engineering. I did mechatronics. I couldn't get a job for a
Okay,
year. I moved into IT, and this was
sure.
about 2022, 23 years ago. And then I moved into IT. Gradually, I moved up the ladder. I was a director when my role got eliminated. So what has happened is when I started growing, when I started becoming into director or a senior manager kind of a role, I saw that a lot of young people coming up, and I saw a lot of people coming up. They have the talent, they have the mindset, but they don't have someone to guide them. They are like
Okay,
a bit. They needed some coaching. They needed some kind of guidance, how to make sure that their thinking is smart, thinking well, thinking outside of the
right.
box. So
Yeah,
in that sense, what I happened to do is when my role got eliminated, I knew that my next step is coaching and developing young managers who are newly promoted as managers, or from the techies they came to now to manage people. So I saw that
yeah,
these are the people who after a while they just fade away because they are struggling. There's a lot of gray area in that. So this is where I started nurturing and coaching a few of them. I think in my previous company itself, when I was a director, I think I've coached about close to 20, 15 people who in that situation where they are new and all have
sure.
gone up to do successfully after when my last company shut down, and also they have become successful. So I know that I have the capabilities, the nature, and I love doing it. I see that as my passion. I see that I get up every morning. Okay, I'm going to able to provide some value and some value to someone towards the day. I'm happy.
Yeah,
You see, so that's where my whole okay. Then what do I do? Do I go back and search for a job after getting retrenched in 2020? I get an IT job. Will I be happy? So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take the risk and go into training, coaching, and
yeah.
start. What I feel that is what I feel that is the right thing for me to do. So it's my passion that led from IT to um, to where I am today.
Yeah. I mean, that's very similar to a lot of people we speak to, right? I mean, they rarely ever train in their domain expertise. They kind of evolve through time into a space which they are familiar with because they've had experience managing people,
Yeah.
coaching people, leading people, and that's kind of been something that they resonate with more than their domain knowledge, right? Uh, I mean, you know, one of the key reasons why we wanted to start Talent Store, I think, is also to reach these folks, right? The folks
Mhm.
that may need coaching, they need guidance, they need leadership.
Yeah.
Some of them have the self-awareness to understand that they need some kind of
Mhm.
development. And why we created Talent Store was really to connect the two, right? To connect
Mhm.
customers or HR professionals to trainers like yourself or coaches like yourself, right? So having you on the platform, I mean, what kind of made you think that this might be a platform that you felt could bring value not only to the industry but to yourself, and how do you foresee it, evolving over time? Like, I just want to get a sense why you chose us. What was the reasoning behind that?
Okay. Oh, thank you so much for that again. So the thing is that what I like about Talent Store is to be honest with you, you when you approached me in the beginning, you were very honest about what the concept is. You gave me a very good detail of how connections can be done. And I am not a person who is, because I come from the IT background, I'm not a
Yeah,
person who is good in getting sales or leads or even in that matter. And
yeah,
when we had the first discussion earlier last year or something, I did see that, oh, okay, this platform was able to bridge the gap that I have. That it
sure.
at least whatever programs that I have with Talent Store, I think it will reach out to the wider audience, whereby maybe my connection or maybe my network may not even reach, because the Talent Store
Sure.
is going to be it will get bigger, right? It will get bigger to a point where there's a lot of database people inside and there's more people in. So I see it has a good platform for me. And working with speaking to you a couple of times and working with Talent Store, I see that this platform can grow all trainers, coaches, and it makes it easy. It's like a one-stop solution. Okay, I want for what program? What does Manmeet have? Leadership or in coaching or whatever, it's just a
Sure.
one-stop solution for everything, and it makes it easier to just go click, click, click.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, that was exactly what we wanted to do, right? We wanted to make it a lot more transparent and efficient,
Mhm.
right? I think when we came into the industry, one of the gaps we saw that was it was quite difficult to find the solutions you needed. But even when you did find a solution that you needed, that you wanted, I mean, you weren't really clear on the quality, right? It was always a
Yeah.
trial and error kind of process where you got to try out the provider or the coach or the trainer before you can understand their quality. But in any other industry, you see that we have standards of quality, we have
That's
reviews,
true.
we have testimonials, and you kind of understand a restaurant's quality or movies quality just by reading the reviews and testimonials, right? But I think that helps, right? Obviously, it exposes trainers as well, obviously, and training providers. But I think eventually it helps us grow as an industry, right? Because
Yep.
it gives you the opportunity, if you do something well, to double down, but if you do something poorly, to improve, right? And I think that's the nature of any improvement, like, that you acknowledge where you are on that scale, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, what I think one question I had for you that I wanted to ask was, as a freelance trainer, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face, right? I mean, you said that you didn't come from a very sales background, and so learning that has probably been a steep curve. But what are some of the other challenges that you foresee and you experience? I mean, in the training space.
The one of the challenges I face is when it gets booked and confirmed, and then later it gets cancelled. But then again, it's not the training provider's fault; it's the client. Sometimes they want, it's you can't. This
Sure.
just happens, right? But the
Yeah.
challenges I faced that when without Talent Store without the Talent Store was because I had to go and ask every training provider, or I had to ask everyone, do you do soft skills in this, or do you do any training in that
Sure.
that I can do? So it was a lot of approaching. Yeah, so it was a big challenge in keep approaching, and numerous number of training provider. I think in my list of training provider, I think I have about close to 54 names of training providers that I went through, see through. But then, it's a learning curve, and I feel that I think with this Talent Store app and with the application, it helps to move it smooth
Sure.
flows the whole process lah.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that I completely agree. I think when we started as well, it's not so much working with training providers as an issue. I think it's that whole concept of getting leads right, and leads are obviously the root of any successful business. How do you drive more and more leads into the business?
That's true.
And by doing that, you kind of eventually can convert them into revenue. But okay, and you've been in the training industry for a couple of years now. How has that improved? What are some of the lessons that you might have learned? Being a freelance trainer, that you think come to mind. Your top 2 lessons.
So for me, to be honest with you, right? Whenever a training provider or a training they ask for an outline normally, and I give them the outline. So, but the thing that what I always do is that on the day of the first day of training or something, if there is some changes needs to be done, because to customize to the crowd at that time. Because when we talk to the HR or we talk to the L&D manager, they tell us, oh, you will have 15 people. Not some of them are not technical and all that, but you don't know who and what are they exactly. But then when you are there with them for one day, and then you realize, oh, okay, maybe I need to improve, or give them different kind of an example, give them specific example. So I always customize it in that sense. So I think if you speak to a few of them, immediately that I know that, okay, the requirements can tweak a bit, I do that. And I suit it so that the people who join the training do not have, or they don't feel regret that, oh, okay, I joined the training, it was a waste of my time. So I always try, even though if I can train it during lunchtime, if I have the 1 hour, I can tweak it, I'll tweak it. So then it makes it easier and comfortable for them that moving forward, it's like that.
Okay, so
that's one lesson.
Flexibility.
Yeah. I'd always use that. I always customize, and then sometimes it's just it's like, I give you an example. There was a training that was I was told that they are all supervisors and all, but I was not told that they were all not able to speak and converse in Malay. So it was all supposed to be in Malay. So they only can speak in Malay. I mean, not in English. Sorry.
Sure.
And so at lunchtime, I tried to change the slides for the day and made sure this was in Malay. I gave them more Malay-specific examples, and I changed it right away.
Okay.
So it then the second half, I knew the second half of the first day itself, people were more engaging, people were more fun to understand, because it started becoming more flow of that. So sometimes it does happen, and that's the thing that I feel that I've done is always I always try to customize when I see. Maybe it's because I've done NLP, so I realize the people's reaction, people's face,
Sure.
how they have done. So from there, I can see what is working, what is not working.
Okay. I mean, I think all trainers need to be a little bit flexible, right? They need to understand that the audience that they are serving. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I think that those were the few things that we wanted to cover during this podcast. I mean, it's a great pleasure to have you on the session.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure,
And for to have you on the platform, I'm pretty sure with your multilingual kind of approach, you're definitely one of the unique ones, because you are able to serve a very unique demographic, which I haven't come across actually. With the Thai market and having influence here as well. So I'm super excited to have you on the platform. It's great to have you here and add value to potentially two big markets, right? And I think eventually what we want to do is
rain here, same. I just heard the sound. Yeah, same one I heard. I think.
Yeah. So I'm just glad to have you guys on the platform and continue to add value. And hopefully, like you said, we grow the platform with more people onboarded, with more products, we can create more value for the HR community, right? So that eventually we trickle down and we train more people. And I think that's ultimately the aim that we want to solve, right? We want to be able to upskill and prepare as many people as possible for the future, right?
Okay.
So thank you so much, Manmeet, for the time. This is a really
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, likewise. This is a really short one that we usually do every week. So for everyone who's watching, I want to thank you for tuning in for this last 20 minutes or so, and looking forward to our next episode. So Manmeet, any last words, anything you want to say to the audience before we wrap it up for today?
So I'll just say that if everyone who is into the L&D and you have in the training industry, I would say you don't have to compete. All you need to do is just strive forward and be the best you can.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank
Manmeet.
you. Thank you, everyone.
See you in our next episode.